So I took $127,500 home equity loan out on my house. You may be wondering, why would I take money out of my house? Oh my God, that's a appreciating asset. So I want to show you guys a visual on my idea.
Okay.
So right now we're paying over almost $670 a month for this, $930 a month for that, $220 a month for the camper, $1,380 a month for the house, plus 300 and something dollars a month for the roof, right? So the $127,000 loan is paying off the roof, it's paying off the Durango, it's paying off the truck, it paid off a $19,000 loan, aka a personal loan that I had out for quite a few reasons, but mostly. So we're dwindling over $4,000 a month in bills down to roughly $2,500.
All right. So in simple people terms, because I know a lot of y'all don't understand what a HELOC is and what exactly he is saying he did. All right. So when you have a home, when you have real estate, if you hold it for long enough and it appreciates in value, the difference that you have in the payoff of your house and how much your house is actually worth is how much we can say you have in equity, right? Some people have $30,000 in equity. Some people have $1 million in equity. Depends. Because you got to remember, homes appreciate in value over time. The national average shows that homes typically gain 3.5 to 3.8% annually. But honestly, these last 5 years have been crazy. Believe it or not, some people bought their home 7 years ago and the amount has doubled of what their house is worth now in 2025. So what does that mean? It means that these people have a lot of equity in their home, meaning they can go to the bank and request a loan for that equity. Now, this is a very powerful thing in real estate and a lot of people do it, but typically they don't do it for depreciating assets. And that's the part that I think is very important in this conversation. Most people will take out a home equity loan when they're trying to do improvements on said home or even another home, or to buy more real estate, and they might use it as down payment money. They'll buy a house, stay in it for a year, and then after that, they'll go to the bank and say, hey, how much has this house appreciated? Hypothetically, y'all, let's just say it was $100,000. The bank will say, off of that $100,000, we can give you this percentage on that $100,000. So let's just say the bank said, hey, we can give you $60,000 since you have $100,000 in equity, right? What people would do is take that $60,000 and go buy a real estate property, and they'll use it as down payment money. Do y'all get what I'm saying? I hope I broke that down good enough. And when they secure that next property, they may move into that home for about a year, maybe 2, maybe 3, however long they need in order to build the equity. And they're going to take the equity out the house and go do it again. And this is how they build real estate portfolios. And I want to talk about this because this is something that's not talked about very often. And it's essentially a way that a lot of people build wealth. And you may be saying, Simone, what do they do with all the houses once they go get another house? They put somebody in it. They get a tenant. That's what they're doing. They're getting a tenant. And now they have passive income streams and they have appreciating assets that other people are helping pay the mortgages on, if there's mortgages, because some of these homes may be paid off. And this is how people build portfolios and build wealth and increase their net worth. Now, for all the real ones who really tune into this channel, this website probably looks very familiar, right? Well, this is the official government website for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, why are we here? I want to give y'all exactly what it says a home equity loan is before we get further into this video, because knowledge is power. It says a home equity loan, sometimes known as a HELOC, allows you to borrow money using equity in your home as collateral. Collateral is a big part of this conversation, and we need to talk about that before we get any deeper into this video. Why is that important in this topic of this man taking out equity in his appreciating asset to get or pay off his depreciating assets? Well, it's because when you use your home as collateral, you are saying, hey, if you don't give me that money, I'm going to take your house. Whatever you use as collateral, you are telling whoever is giving you the loan, if I don't pay you back, come get it. You can use your car as collateral to get a loan. I don't advise people do things like this because most people need their cars. Most people need their homes. And I don't advise people anyway because I don't give financial advice. Personally, I just don't think it's a good idea. Specifically when you are using it to buy depreciating assets. Simone, why does it matter if the asset's depreciating? Because if I would not want to put a house up that is an appreciating value asset and risk that over some cars. I'm sorry. They're depreciating every day you drive them. He said he was paying for a job, a chest job. That's not going up in value. I'm sorry. It's not like, it's a ridiculous thing to even say out loud. I never thought I would be having this conversation like, hey, you know that chess job ain't appreciating, right? It ain't getting better over time. Like, somebody somewhere gonna say it's an investment. Somebody somewhere gonna be like, it's appreciating. It gets better over time. No, it's not worth more on the market than that house. Neither is the car, the RV, none of it. And honestly, when he said the roof, I could kind of understand. Because again, when you're using it for home improvement, you're helping the value of the property either stay up or go up because it's for the house. It's an appreciating asset. So that kind of makes sense because nobody wants to buy a house from you if the roof is messed up. You see what I'm saying? Now let's read the tips. Be careful about borrowing against your home as part of an investment strategy. There is no such thing as a risk-free or guaranteed investment, and that's absolutely true. You should carefully consider all your options before you borrow against your home to invest. All options can lose value and could put your home at risk if you cannot repay the loan later on. What is that telling us? It's saying, hey, if you lose that job, that might be bad. It might be bad because the bank wants their money and they will seize the house. This is why understanding risk management is very important because it might not be worth it. Now, let's continue to see how crazy this story is finna get because my.
The only bill I'll have left is the camper and the house. Now, if I travel this winter, which you guys will get to see, I'm going to pay this whole thing off. I owe like $22,000 on it. I plan on paying that off this year.
Good.
I don't owe any money on those. I don't own anything in the house. We're growing out of this house because we have 2 kids. It's a 2-bedroom house. Yes, I could add on to it, but honestly, I want more land. So I'm kind of addicted to barn-dominium right now. And in my area, you could find 20, 40, 60, 80 acres and build on it. So in about a year or two, hopefully a year, depends on how much I travel this year, I want to buy land, sell the house. I'll have 0 debt, maybe a little bit of overflow on, whatever, because we only took out 85% of the equity. And then we're going to build our dream house, which is going to be a version of a barn, and maybe my wife will get horses.
So he took out $85K equity in his home. Now, what was interesting is that he just said he's planning to sell the home, which might leave him in the red, depending on, what that looks like. And I want to say something to make it very clear. Though this may be working well for him, and I'm not exactly sure why, because all I'm seeing is a bunch of depreciating assets. And even though he essentially used his home equity loan to consolidate all of his consumer debt, this can be dangerous for a lot of people, even if it works well for him. And I hope it does. When most people do this right here, they end up in a very bad situation because all those things that he went to pay off aren't bringing him in more money. Now, he did say that he's saving money every month because he essentially consolidated his lifestyle. Like this is pretty much what he did. He said, hey, I got all these things that don't really bring me any value. These monthly payments are doing me in. So if I just take out a HELOC, hey, we're good to go. I pay less every month. And though that may sound really smart right now, and I'm glad he's happy about his decision because it's his life. If the average person does something like this simply would mean that, hey, you're probably living above your means because you couldn't afford all of these monthly payments. And again, it's no really different than credit card debt. When people have to get these consolidation loans because they're like, oh my gosh, I spent too much on all these separate credit cards. I need a consolidation loan so I can pay less every month. The real problem probably was you were spending too much money and you got too much stuff in the first place that you probably shouldn't have got. You might have overdid it a little bit. Lifestyle creep might have hit or whatever the case may be. And you started getting overwhelmed with all of the monthly payments that you agreed to, by the way. You agreed and said, hey, I got it. Now, he may have stable income, a high-paying job. And as crazy as it sounds, he even sounds like he has a plan. Why this differs from most people is most people don't. They just do it. And then they find themselves in a bad situation after. He seems like he knows he might end up losing in the end if he needs to sell that house. But this is still very dangerous and would be for most people because he essentially turned unsecured debt into secure debt by associating the loan with his house and using it as collateral. And what do I mean by that? According to Investopedia, borrowers put up an asset to serve as collateral for the loan. Risk of default is low, so interest rates tend to be lower. And unsecured debt is no collateral needed to secure the loan, which is when you go buy a car, you didn't need to put collateral up to go get the car. You just essentially needed to be able to make the monthly payment, right? And it goes on to prove what I'm saying by saying borrowers are approved for the loan based on their credit worthiness. If you can walk into a facility an establishment and say, hey, I got good credit. Can you give me a loan? That is a unsecured loan. A secure loan is the house, which as you can see here, the house in the back. And when they say risk of default is low and interest rates tend to be lower, that's because they can just come take your house. Again, people need their house. People are serious about their house, an appreciating asset where they live. So the bank is like, hey, I'll give you lower interest rates. And it says the risk of default is low, but that doesn't mean it's going to be low for you, especially if you're doing something very risky and you don't make enough money in order to pay these people back. They're just going to come take your house. They're going to take your house, which brings us to the next part of this conversation. Why is this so risky, Simone? Well, we got to be honest. We're going to have the honest conversation today. There are things like divorce, job loss, sickness. Anything can happen to where if you are losing that income to pay back that HELOC, your house is now at risk. It could even be something as crazy as the fact that your property taxes may have went up within the last year. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford all of this. All of this stuff hit me at once. Imagine all those things that I just said, left to right. Guess who don't care? The bank. Guess who will come take your house if you can't give them their money? The bank. And guess what? They're going to buy it up for cheap, get it for the low, sell it to private equity, and have somebody in there within a month. They don't care. They probably hope that you default on your home equity loan so they can get your house for pennies on the dollar. I'm just being honest. And again, not saying I hope that happens to him. I'm saying this is the dangers of what could happen. All those different things are life circumstances that a lot of us face. And something tells me that he's making a lot of money because I just feel like you got to be making a lot of money to be risky with your house. And I'm looking around like you got all the cars and the RV. That's nice. A lot of people want that. But for him to be so confident about this decision, I feel like he got to have a lot of money coming in. He has to. Because if he had the money to just pay off the cars and all these other monthly payments, why not just pay it off instead of using your house as collateral? You know, it raises question. Is there enough money saved to do that? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. But you know I'm going to do some more digging. You know me.
Think about all the money you would have if you had 0 payments for the amount of years you had your cars and toys. Well, then I would have no cars and no toys. So that makes no sense. I mean, idealistically, sure, I could buy a cheap car and be broke and save money. Then I got money in the bank. Who gives a I got a nice truck. I got a nice car. I got a nice camper. I got a nice house. I got jet skis. I got a lawnmower, riding lawnmower. I got all sorts of But if it didn't have any payments, then I would have none of that. And I'd be living in an apartment with nothing except money in the bank. What the do I want money in the bank for? That doesn't allow me to go jet skiing. That doesn't allow me to go camping. That doesn't allow me to hold shit with a truck. It doesn't allow me to drive a fucking car to work. You gotta buy a car to drive a car to work, right? So excuse me if I like having nice things. It is what it is. At the end of the day, these are all affordable, whether I buy it in cash or whether I take loans out to pay for them.
Well, I would agree with his last statement that these are all affordable, whether he bought it in cash or he took out loans. But he said in the last video, he was paying around $4,000 a month and he reduced it down to $2,000. So what is the point of reducing it down if you can afford it? You see, I'm asking, you put your house up as collateral. This is a logical question. And also, if you can afford it, why not just pay for it and be done with it? Why? Hey, you can afford the RV. You can afford the truck. Paying it cash isn't a bad option if you really do have the money, because now you're not paying interest on any of these items, which I would think might be part of the reason why you decided to consolidate the loans, because now you're not paying interest on the cars, on the jet skis, or all the other stuff that you may have that are depreciating assets. This is a true head scratch moment. Like, seriously. And then to say this part right here.
But if it didn't have any payments, then I would have none of that. And I'd be living in an apartment with nothing except money in the bank. What the do I want money in the bank for?
You do know that you don't need them. Like, you don't need a monthly payment. You could just go buy the things because you can afford to do it. Many people do it, but a lot of people don't because they can't afford to buy it right out. And that's understandable. A lot of people can't afford 2 cars in the front, an RV, a route. Like, a lot of people can't afford to do that all at once. And I understand the monthly payment thing. You're like, hey, I can afford to make these payments every month because this is how much money I'm bringing in from my job typically every month. But a lot of people can do it if they simply just save money. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with the monthly payment. But to say, hey, I wouldn't be able to afford all these things if I didn't have monthly payments and then overdo it or do it to the point where you're using your house as collateral, It's honestly a head scratching moment. Then could you afford the monthly payment? Could you really afford the monthly payments then? Because why do it? Why use your house as collateral? Honestly, I feel like this is living above your means in real time. And I'm not saying he ain't got the bag. I don't know. But he essentially is sounding like, hey, I go get these things to go be in debt and then just make the monthly payments because I want to have nice things. And I want a lot of nice things. And I know a lot of people want a lot of nice things. He is not an anomaly. But when we start hearing consolidation, when we start putting houses up as collateral for depreciating assets, why? Because a lot of y'all won't see a problem with this.
Last night between work, TikTok, house improvement loan, aka home equity loan, over $90,000 in my bank account. I'm glad to say that my West loan that we owed $19,000 on, paid it off. One fell swoop, paid that month off while I was drunk. Now I get back home, I gotta log into my vehicle bank accounts or whatever, or maybe just walk into the bank and write him a check for however much I owe the bank for my car. I think the car is like $22,000 or something like that. I think I owe like 40-something thousand dollars on the truck.
The truck was 40?
And then we're good to go. Everything be paid off, and there's just one bill left. Easy peasy. Basically going from paying over $4,000 a month to $2,500 a month. I can do whatever I want with the rest of the money.
And that's really what it is and we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting the context. He wanted to free up another $2,000. Why am I pointing that out? This is where I say he can get problematic. And we're just using this as an example, but I'm just going to say what a lot of people would do, right? Because I understand how a lot of people think. You free up $2,000. Guess what you finna do? Go get some more stuff that you don't need that's finna depreciate, and you finna run back up some more debt. Let's be honest. Running up more debt after you consolidated it with the home equity loan. That is why I said this is dangerous. Because he said the quiet part out loud. I can do whatever I want with that money. What do y'all think most people are going to do with that money? What are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, I got $2,000 more because I used my house as collateral. I'm not going to touch the $2,000 because I work hard and I deserve nice things. Guess what? Motorcycle coming. Motorcycle coming. Guess what? We finna go on a trip. You know what? I have been wanting to go to Disney for a little bit. Yeah. You know that new car just came out. It ain't sounding too bad right about now. I got $2,000. I can pay that car note. It's only gonna be maybe $1,000. Like, yeah, we got it. Need me some new shoes. Need to get the kids some new stuff that probably already in the house. Why not? We got $2,000 more. And guess what happened? You still got that HELOC that you gotta pay. Okay, fine. You got all the cars in the driveway paid off because your house is collateral. So though you may have freed up $2,000 and your HELOC that you're paying is $2,000, what good is all of that, all of this strategy and all this thought process if you're going to use that same $2,000 and run it right back up to be more debt? Because technically, you're not paying off anything. Technically, you're just transferring the debt from one location to the other, trying to lower the monthly payments by consolidating it. Let's call it what it is. And he's not the only one that does this. A lot of people do it. And it's a good strategy if you're using it to actually get yourself out of the situations that you put yourself in. But we have to understand, why did we get here? It's likely because you did too much from the jump and you shouldn't have did it. You shouldn't have did it. And instead of stopping when you could fix the problem, even though I don't agree with using a HELOC for depreciating assets, instead of stopping the bad spending habits, I deserve good things, I work hard, what is the point of living if I can't get what I want and do what I want? You keep doing the same thing that got you consolidating all these loans. You doing the same thing over and over. And until the habit stops and you say enough is enough, the debt keeps piling up. It just transfers itself from one place to another. And a lot of people tell themselves, no, I'm good. I got a paid off car. I got to pay off this. No, if you don't pay the bank back, now you ain't got no house. If you file bankruptcy, a lot worse could happen, because some people get to the point because they've done this, they need to file bankruptcy. Now your stuff is getting seized. Y'all, I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful. This is not a game. Okay, so here he's replying to a comment that's saying, you didn't make 190. Say whatever you want. You're just rage baiting. Okay, now we're getting into the question that I know a lot of y'all have. How much is this man making and what does he do? Are we pocket watching? Yes. Because this was on the internet, and I don't care what none of y'all got to say. When you post the stuff, you know what people are doing? Whether they do videos like I do, or they in the comments, you did what? And I'm down with the get down because this story is crazy.
It's okay. I get you situated. I don't really come on to the internet and lie to people for no reason.
Okay, tell
I'm
us.
actually quite honest about how much money I make, how much money I spend, how much debt I'm in.
I'm not mad.
Here you go. Sloppy with some receipts.
Oh, hold up. Okay. January 1st to December 14th, 2024. This is the pay period. He is saying he made $214,000 gross pay. Deductions, $22,000. Taxes, $51,000. So his net, what he was left over with, y'all, what he was left over with was $140,000. Honestly, very good. Very, very good. This man makes, according to this, he makes a lot of money to a lot of people, which is why this is even crazier. It be the people making the most money that be doing the craziest stuff. Because this man could hold it down and probably pay a lot. He could have paid a lot of this stuff off himself. Very interesting. Okay, so the year before that, he was making $122,000. This year, he has already made $107,000. We ain't even done with this year yet if this is his pay. So this is a lot. This is a good amount of money. And again, he could likely pay that HELOC off early. That might be what he's trying to do. And I hope so. He need to just wrap the HELOC on up. He make enough money to do it. He really does. Like, use the extra $2,000 you freed up and throw it into the HELOC. What else?
You really shit yourself if I told you that I make more money than that, because I got 3 other sources of income. I am losing one of them, but last year I made $192 just from driving a truck. That doesn't include per diem and or all the other shit. I make money out here. I make money from VA. I'm in the National Guard for a couple more months. I even donate plasma if I feel like it. Plenty of money to be made. You just gotta go get it.
I'm glad he makes a lot of money. I am, especially in this economy. This is a lot of money. This is. And the thing with high income earners is burying yourself into debt because you have a good job is the part of the conversation a lot of people missed. And they leave it out. It's something about when you make a lot of money, you want to spend more money. When you were making less money, you weren't buying all the things. But as soon as you start getting the pay raises and you're like, oh, I got 3 streams of income, you start saying, I can just go get more stuff. It's fine. I put it on the tab, put it on the tab. It's lifestyle creep, y'all. That's all it is. And you have to adjust to the fact that you're making more money. And I think one of the best things to do is if you make more money, just live like you were making the same amount of money you were when you were broke. How you were living before, live like that. Just do it for maybe a year or 2 and you can stack that bread up. And then you can really do whatever you want, especially if you put it in the right vehicles. And I'm not talking about like cars. I mean like vehicles like you have it in the S&P, you have it in the stock market. Maybe you went and bought some more properties or something, and you did some things to help gain you more money instead of going to get jet skis, going to go get a motorcycle, going to get a car, and having payments and owing the bank interest when you actually make a lot of money. And again, nothing wrong with having loans, but when you get to this level of, hey, I can really do something, act like you're broke for a little bit. And let the paper stack up. Just let it stack up. But I know that's not what people do. They want it now, and they're like, hey, my life is short. I don't know if I'm be here tomorrow. I'm 35. It might be my last. We don't know. None of us know when the last day is for any of us when we gonna give up the ghost. But I feel like there's ways to be wise and to be a good steward of what you've been blessed with. Now he's replying to a comment that says he makes $32 as a truck driver and trying to justify his bad purchases by moving money around. But okay, now I do have to agree with that second part where it's like he kind of is trying to justify his bad purchases by moving it around, because that's what we're doing here, y'all. Make no mistake. But he said he had 3 streams of income and he already made 6 figures and we ain't even done with the year yet. So he's probably going to make way more. So $32, he's not just making $32 an hour as a truck driver. And see, that's the thing. A lot of y'all have no clue how much different streams of income people have. If he came up to you in public and told you the story and said, hey, I'm a truck driver, you'd be like, some of y'all would be like, yeah, truck drivers make a lot of money. And a lot of them do. I didn't see some truck drivers run up a bag. But it's when you say you're just a truck driver or you think that that's all that they do. Y'all got to get with the times, y'all. Y'all don't know what people got coming in. A lot of people got a lot more money coming in than you think, and a lot of people got a lot less. But if he wouldn't have said he had 3 streams, you probably wouldn't have known. You see what I'm saying?
Last time I checked, $34 an hour is only like 70-something grand a year. Which means I would have to work an insane amount of overtime in order to make the amount of money that I make. In reality, I don't get paid by the hour. I basically average like $500 a day unless I travel, and then exponentially more. I honestly don't think I can afford my lifestyle on $70,000 a year.
I don't think so either. To be fair, he might be even pushing it where he is right now. Because the home equity loan for the depreciating assets was crazy work. I'm sorry, it was crazy work. And sir, yes, you do make some good money, and I'm glad. That was a little extreme. Then he said for a chest job too, in a $44,000 truck. Come on now.
$34 an hour. I'm just a truck driver. Poor old truck driver. Doesn't make any money. Now, I finally made $34 an hour. Somebody explained to me how I made over $107 already this year. Somebody explain that.
He had a good point there. I already knew the math had to be off based off of his last video. And somebody here said this dude capped. So they don't really believe that he's doing it. Do y'all think he's lying? Honestly, I don't think he's lying about how much he makes. It'd be a kind of weird thing to lie about, even though some people do. I just don't think he's lying. I think he definitely took out that home equity loan though. And I think he definitely paid off them cars and all that other stuff with it.
Pay transparency of a food service delivery driver. In the last 2 weeks, I made $4,675.29.
Good.
Not too shabby for barely working.
Not
Put $700 in my 401k, and I had to pay $1,071.25 in taxes. I ended up working 97.65 hours, which I'll calculate and do the math for you. That's $47.87 an hour. I don't get paid hourly, I get paid kind of like a salary. So it's not too shabby for a truck driver, if I might say so myself. Now, before you get all judged, I made $112,287 this year so far, and it's still July. That's only from trucking. If we include everything else, I probably made over $130,000 range. So I think I'm doing pretty good.
I think he's doing great, and I think he shouldn't took out the home equity loan. I think he just shouldn't have bought all the stuff. I'm gonna be totally honest. If he didn't overdo it and have all the monthly payments, bread would have just been stacking up. This is why I'm saying, y'all, just hold it down for a little bit. A little bit. It's not the fact that a lot of y'all don't make enough money. It's the fact that you don't know how to be responsible and to make the good financial decisions that keep you from putting your home up as a collateral damage when you make good money. And I'm kind of glad that he showed this because, and again, this may go good for him because, again, he actually makes a lot of money. You average normal people going out and doing this same thing, or heck, even most people doing the same thing, making the same amount of money as him. It only takes for you to lose that income. Now the bank is coming to get your house. Why? In this economy, I don't think that's what a lot of people want to risk, especially if you got a good interest rate on that house. If you got a good interest rate on your house and you're using it as collateral, why? When you make good money, just pay off the stuff you owe. Go without some stuff for a little while. Just take it all in. Just be satisfied with what you got for now and then pay it off. Get it over with. Because if this cycle continues, it only gets worse and you get more and more debt. You get bigger and bigger things because most people just aren't satisfied. Let's be honest. You get 2 cars, now you need another car. You get 1 motorcycle, now you want a collection. Now you want to be a collector. It's the behavior, y'all. And I know a lot of y'all be like, oh, I don't like when people say it's the mindset and blah, blah. It really is. It's the mindset. Because what you would do when you're broke, likely you would do if you got money. You're consolidating loans and trying to make it make sense and get them monthly payments down. When you don't have money like that, you're going to do the same thing when you get money. And honestly, a lot of people just aren't used to making that amount of money and understanding that you have to nurture it in a responsible way. Sometimes it takes years to say, hey, I'm going to do better. I made some mistakes. I'm not going to do that again. And I hope that that's one of these situations. And I hope that he actually just pays off his home equity loan and get that out the way because it's affordable for him. $2,000 compared to the $4,000 that he was paying on all these monthly payments before. Throwing that right into that home equity loan so the bank can't take his house would be great. It would be fantastic. This is the type of story that goes viral because even though for him this may work, if 100 people copied him, about 90 of them, house poor, filing bankruptcy, back in consumer debt, ran it back up, stressed out. And then we see the video on TikTok talking about how you buried yourself in the debt over a bunch of depreciating assets. And I think this is a great video. There's a lot of nuance to this conversation, but I gotta know, is this something that you would do? Would you take out a home equity loan to either pay off or buy depreciating assets? Because that's what they are. Or do you think that this is a good strategy because he makes a lot of money? Do you think that he's going to pay off his home equity loan ahead of time? I hope he does. Because if so, good for you, sir. Or do you think this is even crazy or wild that he even thought about using his home as collateral to pay off depreciating assets, and the fact that he's like, oh, I got $2,000 left over. What can I do? Y'all let me know down below. But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.